Give me my motherfucking money. I ain't calling J.G. Wentworth.
Where's E.F. Hutton?
J.G. Wentworth.
Oh, that's what I was.
Cash now.
I was going to talk about that toxic available.
It's a new age of combat.
Human beings, genetically engineered to be the best fighters in history.
Two champions.
It isn't over until someone wins.
At war with each other.
Achilles! I have already killed you.
Two invincible men.
Let's finish it, Alexander, here now.
The ultimate killing machines.
I'm gonna get in this thing, and I'm gonna kick your... Quite good. Attack warning. Attack warning? Is it for real? Attack warning's for bloody real.
Live from Colorado Springs, the Drop Culture Podcast.
Want to confirm, is this an exercise? Roger, copy. This is not an exercise.
Come on, quick, get down! 1, 2, 3!
Welcome to the Dropped Culture Podcast, everybody. My name's Brock.
And I'm Dan.
And we go through movies, you know?
And other stuff.
And other stuffs. And welcome to our Thursday episode, which is a movie that's near and dear to my heart, like the movie Arena. Yes, it's one of those things that this one is not as bad to be released on YouTube only, but yet it's not very prevalent and it's not the best. But it's a bitchin' movie.
What is this movie, Brock?
Robot Jox.
It's from 1990?
Yeah. This is the same year that, as you remember, Captain America 1990 came out and The Punisher 1990 came out.
A lot of shitty movies, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Oh, 90 was a bad year.
It was a bad year.
It was a bad year. But Robot Jox is the story of, 50 years after the nuclear holocaust.
Well, it's the story of a lovely lady.
Yeah, pretty
much.
Who
is living with three very lovely girls.
But
no, it's not. No. Okay.
But it's giant robots, American style. So they didn't have the Japanimation impact.
Right.
But it was still really cool.
And I feel like we do need to give 1990 like some props because there were some good movies that came out in 1990. Jacob's Ladder came out in 1990. Nightbreed, Total Recall.
Okay.
There was some good Misery.
Yeah.
You know, so it wasn't all of 1990, but there were some really niche things that like people are really into now.
Yeah.
That were really crappy when they were done back then.
Well, Robot Jox was one of those it was so cool and the preview was so bitchin' that you were like, man, it's like helicopters in the 80s. You know what I mean?
Right.
You had to be like a Robot Jox. You're like, yes, Robot Jox. And they only had like 2 copies at the video store anyway. It's streaming right now on one of the popular streaming services. So if you haven't watched it, watch it now. And then
check it out on Tubi.
Is it on Tubi?
For free.
It's on Amazon as well.
For free on Tubi.
Oh, well, I watched it on Amazon.
Yeah, well, whatever, cool guy.
Whoa.
With your subscription.
Live in the now, man.
I mean, I just try to tell people where they can find it if it's free. Obviously, a lot of folks have Amazon because they ship stuff.
Yeah.
And they want to give Jeff Bezos money and whatever.
Yeah,
whatever makes you happy.
Yeah,
yeah, Tubi's free.
Tubi is free, and I usually watch the Pittsburgh news on it.
The Pittsburgh news?
For some reason, that's the news station that comes up.
I didn't know there was a news station on Tubi.
Yeah, it's weird. If you look at it, it's like when you're looking through the guide. They have a guide that you can go through that shows the live TV.
That's fucking weird. I don't know. I just go to the movies and watch old crappy movies.
Yeah, right?
I'm like, another crappy movie.
It's not. No, I'm thinking of something. There's another one.
Sure.
Yeah, there's another streaming service. Never mind. Okay.
Not Tubi?
Not Tubi.
Okay.
Now I'll figure it out.
But we're going to talk about a movie.
We are talking about Robot Jox.
So let's preface this. I don't remember ever watching this movie in my life.
What?
Until yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. At all.
It doesn't stick to your bones like, some porridge or anything like that. I mean,
no.
But
Well,
I remembered it.
That's good. It was worth a watch, though. It was worth a watch.
Like I said, like Arena. This movie and that one is like somehow I remember freaking Arena so much. And like my buddy, they had stolen it from the video store, right? Never took it back, right? So we're talking like 2 years into having Arena. I'm like, man, let's watch Arena. And he's like, dude, that movie sucks. I'm like, I know. Let's watch it. That or Tango and Cash, man. Of course, Tango and Cash always won. Arena was bitching, right? But these two movies really, just similarly had the same kind of weird feeling. Like, it's like a made-for-TV movie with just a smidgen of a bit more personality, I guess.
It's like a direct-to-video movie.
Yes, in 1990, which was just starting.
Yeah.
All the Don the Dragon Wilson movies were already coming out, too, so.
Don the Dragon Wilson was a badass.
Yes, he was. He was no Steven Seagal.
I kind of want to dragon punch you now.
No shit. So, Robot Jox.
Yes.
Robot Jox came out in what year? 1990.
I think it was filmed in 89. Came out in 1990 in November.
I thought it was a couple years before. They might have had it regular there. Or they might have had it in the can or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was done in 89. It was finished in 89, and then November of 1990 is when it got its release.
It totally looks 1992. It's November 21st, 1990.
Yeah, they were a year ahead of time.
Yep. It totally looks like the 90s in it. So it was budgeted at 6.5 to 10 million. We don't know.
Ooh, who knows?
Ooh. And it had a box office take of 1.3.
I mean, how can you go wrong?
No shit. It was released by Triumph Releasing Corporation. And then MGM bought it, Polygram.
Went out of business, I think, after this movie.
Right. They totally, this was the most expensive movie they ever made, and it bankrupted them.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that.
Because it was pretty slick. I mean, it looked like something that you would see on like a Blue Thunder television show.
Oh, 100%, yeah. The second Blue Thunder reference tonight.
Yeah. Comedy comes in
little
threes.
behind the scenes. Little behind the scenes.
Yes. So now this is the coolest part, I think, about this whole movie. It was directed by Stuart Gordon.
Yes.
Stuart Gordon, Re-Animator fame.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I mean, Stuart Gordon is a legend. Re-Animator is freaking wicked.
Yeah, awesome.
Love it. Re-Animator 2, wicked. You know what I mean? And
maybe that'll be a drop in deuce.
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe. You never know.
Yeah. Remember, send in your drop in deuces. Send in your deuces to us.
Careful.
Yeah.
Careful what you wish for there.
He also did Fortress in a movie called The Wonderful Ice Cream Suit.
I'm not familiar with it. That's a Bradbury story?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it. I don't know what a Bradbury story sounds like. But
sounds like it is.
I'm like, oh, look at me. I'm cool. I know. But yeah, okay. So really, really obscure kind of a filmmaker that's made some cool movies.
Yeah, he was a pretty controversial theater guy back in the day. But yeah, he's done some good movies.
Yeah, well, he has definitely his own stamp. He's no Carpenter stamp, but yeah, he's there. He's with them somewhere.
Yeah,
But he's like way below like a lot of them, but yet pretty cool.
Putting on Carpenter's shoes, maybe.
Yeah. He's like, hey, can I get you a coffee, Mr. Carpenter? He's that dude,
right?
You know what I mean? So, not taking away from his movies.
No, 100%. He got to make movies, and I haven't. So
yeah, I know,
there you go.
I mean, come on. Somebody gave him money every couple of years. So, and now here we get into the cast. Now, I'll let you take over on the
before we hit the cast. So the writer of the screenplay, Joe Haldeman, he is like a pretty well-known sci-fi writer. He wrote The Forever War, which was like a book in 1974. But he was like, I think, given the Grand Master. Let me make sure this is right. Yeah, he was for the Science Fiction Writers of America. He was like not made the Grand Master or whatever that is. He got the Grand Master Award.
Wow.
I didn't know that kind of sounds bad, the Grand Master.
Yeah, I know, right? I was sitting there thinking, I was like, whoa. The 27th SFWA Grand Master in 2009.
But he also won the John W. Campbell Memorial Award for Best Science Fiction Novel in 1998. He's won several Nebula Awards.
7 Hugo Awards.
Yeah, so, I mean, just, a good writer.
Yeah.
But he even made a comment about this movie, and he's like, it's like having a kid, and then it starts out pretty good, and then it gets brain damage.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah.
It's not verbatim, but
him and Stuart Gordon got into a lot of arguments over it because Stuart Gordon was trying to make a kids movie for adults, and he was trying to inject an adult movie for kids.
Right.
So it was kind of like this really weird, I don't know, dichotomy that they were running together. And it ended up being kind of a modge podge of both of those things together, which didn't really translate well.
No.
Yeah. There was a lot of things that fell flat. There was a lot of great ideas.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great world building, but it was fast and not that established. So you didn't know the world.
Right.
All you knew was that first part, and then you saw it, and you're like, oh, cool, giant robot, man. Yeah. And then you kind of get that in a couple of clubs where they're drinking. I mean, not much world building in that. I mean,
agreed.
Terminator, or not Terminator, Total Recall,
yeah.
Had that world building atmosphere, and you believed it was the future, even though it was Mexico City. You know what I mean?
Right.
So this one was like, did they find a derelict cement factory somewhere and decide that we're going to put an elevator in it? Oh, that looks good. Here's some baling wire and some spit. Right. We're going to make this thing work. Don't get me wrong. Great job. They made the movie. Yeah. I mean, that was pretty awesome. But it just didn't have the world building that you need to give you an immersive movie.
Agreed.
To really feel like it.
Yeah, they could have filled out that world a little better.
Because your characters were like, boom, they're there. And you're like, oh, okay, I really have no context.
Right.
Except for the little blurb at the very beginning.
Exactly. But yeah, getting into the cast, our main character, Achilles. Ooh. You're going to find a theme with these names. Gary Graham. I think if anybody knows him, it's probably from the Alien Nation TV show. He did like 5 TV movies for that. Yes. And then also he was a recurring character on the 90s Star Trek as well.
Mm-hmm. He was on The Jackal, and I need to rewatch that movie because that was Bruce Willis.
Bruce Willis,
being a badass. Which he always is, but
come on.
But yeah, I mean,
so that was really all I knew. Like I knew the face, but I had to look up to find out where I knew the face from.
Yeah,
and and he made Robot Jox.
Oh yeah. I mean, he does have the Walker Texas Ranger credit to his resume.
Yeah, as you would.
What else? I don't even really know what Mantis was. Maybe I should watch it. But he does have a Renegade credit, too. Yikes.
With Lorenzo Lamas?
Oh, man, that hair is beautiful.
Well, he has an Incredible Hulk.
TJ Hooker, Hunter.
I mean, the Incredible Hulk one gives him at least something. Knots Landing.
Yeah. The Knots Landing one kind of like hit me in the gut, and I was like, damn, he's a great actor.
He's got a Remington Steel credit.
God. So awesome.
And real quick, I'm just going to burn through a couple of these because Moonlighting, Dukes of Hazzard, Chips. I mean...
What wasn't he on that Huggy Bear was?
Well, here's what we're going to find through this whole movie, though, is all of these actors have a lot of credits in like 80s and 90s television shows.
Yeah, and that's a big theme with our movies. You notice that a lot of our movies have a lot of television actors in them, and these are their small cult movies that they did.
Some of them have George Clooney in them.
I know.
I'm just going to throw that out there.
See, there's like one dude out of all of these movies that we've done.
That is not true. That is not true.
It is George Clooney.
I couldn't take that if that were the truth.
Well, Bill Maher, I forgot.
Get out of here.
So you got Glenn Graham. He's Achilles, which, again, like you said.
Gary Graham.
Gary Graham.
Yeah.
Glenn Graham. Oh, yeah, he's a drummer for Blind Melon. Ow.
There you go.
Why do I know that?
That'd been cool if he was in this movie.
Right. Then you got Athena, right?
Oh, yeah. Anne-Marie Johnson.
Anne-Marie Johnson.
She's been in a lot of stuff. Again, what's happening now? That's all that really matters. But she was also, she was in the Heat of the Night, which was actually a really good show.
She was a teenage pillow queen.
She was on In Living Color.
Yeah. That might be where I remember her from. Mm-hmm. You know, because I know her face. You'll whenever you watch it.
It's weird when you're doing research for this, though. Like the first thing that came up, like when I was like doing my little Google foo, was apparently she's worth $4 million. I'm like, I don't care about that.
Yeah. Why is people's worth on there?
Why do I have to? I wouldn't want somebody just being able to look me up. Not that I have $4 million.
Yeah, but really that translates into like a 6-pack of beer and a greeting card.
Yeah,
you know?
Especially in Hollywood, right?
She was on. Oh, that is right. I'm gonna get you, sucker.
Oh,
yes,
yeah.
She was the one that kept pulling off all of her stuff. She's like, hold on, this isn't my real butt. Like, I remember that. Yes.
Good call, man.
Yeah.
That was a good pull right there. I forgot. Like you said, though, but this is another person that's been in movies since like the TV shows rather, since the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking Different Strokes. She got Different Strokes credits. Hill Street Blues.
Ooh, come on. Right. In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah, that's the one I remember from. Yeah. She was on that for a while, I believe.
Yeah, well, that show ran for unbelievable amounts of time. You know, I think it's still going somewhere.
I mean, I'm just saying she was Nadine on What's Happening Now.
There we go.
And that's all you really need to know.
Yeah, it's What's Happening.
Which was not as cool as What's Happening, but that's okay.
It was a memorial to the great show.
Yes.
Then we got who's next? Paul Kozlow.
Yeah, Kozlow. Old Kozlow.
Alexander.
He is the proxy Russian guy.
But he's really not Russian, is he? I guess he's got that Eastern European vibe.
No, but exactly. But I mean, that's what he's supposed to. I very much felt like this was like here's the tail end of the Rocky IV kind of movie. Yeah. You know what I mean?
He's got great hair.
Yeah.
You know?
Not so great of a face, but whatever.
He looks like he got into a few too many fights.
Yeah.
You know, he's got an 18 credit. And
have you ever watched The Vanishing Point?
The original?
Yeah. He's in that.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
You know what? I've seen the end of it.
And he was also Dutch in the Omega Man, if I can talk.
Whenever you said that earlier, I was like, oh my God, that's him.
Yeah, when you use face, you recognize it. Mm-hmm. And you're like, where do I know this face from?
Yeah.
He was in Cleopatra Jones, son.
No shit.
Yeah.
See, I mean, I'm telling you, these guys are awesome.
But they are very much these character kind of actors that you like really deep pool kind of,
Yeah.
All of them, except for one.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to him.
Well, it's like they spin the bottle and shit, right? With all the actors' names, and they're like, he's going to be the lead. And they're like, oh, well, he's got a TJ Hooker credit. Come on.
So I'm going to give this guy a little credit, though, because he has an original Mission Impossible credit and Gunsmoke. What?
Okay.
Yep.
And who is this?
That's Paul Kozlow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Paul Kozlow.
Our Eastern European / Russian guy.
That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Dutch. Buck Rogers in the 25th Century, son.
Dang.
Greatest American hero.
The Flash.
Yeah.
Heart to Heart. Dang.
Yeah.
Hawaii Five-0.
Blue Thunder.
Galactica.
No, I don't know. Yeah, he does have Blue Thunder. Whoa. He played Johnny Irons in episode 7.
Johnny Irons. Dallas. Wonder what he did in Dallas. He was like a Ponzi scheme dude.
Yeah, probably.
Rooster Cogburn? No shit.
Yeah, he was a Knight Rider as well. So you're going to notice that there's like most of our main characters have been in Knight Rider. It's weird.
Well, it's technology.
Also TJ Hooker.
I know. This is the two TJ Hooker.
And
the Shatner.
MacGyver.
Oh, he has a MacGyver credit? Mm-hmm. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Dude's on top of the world right now.
I mean, he was the top of the world in the 80s. He was loving life.
It's like the only thing he doesn't have is a falcon crest.
That is wrong, actually. He has 2 episodes of Falcon Crest.
Oh, my God. He's got a falcon crest credit. Nice.
I mean, I don't know if you remember this little show from 1984, The Paper Chase. I just remember seeing the commercials from it when I was really small, and it had some bald kind of fat guy on it. And yeah, it was really weird. And I never watched it on purpose, but I watched it. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those, and I'm like, this is the most boring fucking thing I've ever seen in my life.
But when you have 4 channels.
About a law student. Great.
Yes.
Get me the fuck out
Yeah,
of
it's like
here.
LA law rules.
Damn it, man.
Listen, we talk for 45 minutes about Knight Rider and
That
shit.
would be cool.
And then, so we're going to pick up where the movie starts. All right.
So there you go.
Anybody else?
No, I think that's it, man. I think that we probably overdid it.
Okay. Okay.
Are we talking about a movie, or are we going
Yes.
to talk about these dudes forever?
Yes. Okay. This is a pre-episode for Robot Jox.
Yeah. You can,
We're gonna split this one in 2.
we just wanted you to know all the players. Jeez, we talked about those guys. Just about random 80s shows they were on.
Yes. Awesome.
Yes. No Fall Guy.
Yeah.
That'll help you rate this movie.
Yeah. How many Fall Guys in it? None.
None. 0 Fall Guys.
Okay. So now let's get into this movie.
There's some robots. There's some jocks.
And it is pretty freaking
Alpha,
crazy.
beta.
So I'll start it off real quick.
Yeah.
50 years after a nuclear holocaust, mankind is decimated in the surviving nations. The Western influence market and the Russian influence confederation have agreed to outlaw traditional open war. It only took them 50 years afterwards. What? The Cold War is still going on, right? Just like in 2010, the Cold War was still going on because they were all made before it ended. So all of the disputes, land and everything like that is determined by giant robot fights.
Yeah, I don't remember how do they preface it at the beginning? Do you remember? Like that little blurb they give you at the beginning?
Yeah, that's what
that was
reading.
what that was? I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they said.
And it shows a weird deal because they're fighting in Siberia at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So, so basically the Robot Jox, because they are basically if you've seen Pacific Rim, yes. Okay.
Yeah, this is the prequel to Pacific Rim.
They're not even wired
This is
in.
Pacific Rim.
Yeah, they're not wired in, but they are with a lot of TV cables.
What? Okay, got to set the scene here. Because they're wearing like the shell of like almost like a spacesuit, but not like a pilot's outfit. I would say
they have laser tag outfits with power gloves.
But the power gloves have like your yellow, red, and white cables.
But it had a green one in there too.
Well,
so it was a composite
It
cable.
was a composite. Dang, that's great graphics back in the day.
Well, they made it look real. They were like, whoa, there's a green
But they
one?
plugged into not the back of their gloves,
Tops.
to the top and the front because it was convenient.
It looked cool. Like I said, it was like a laser tag outfit
It
with
really
a motorcycle
was.
helmet.
Well, I mean, they did only have like a $6 to $10 million budget.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, those motorcycle helmets were like too like impeding. So whenever you would see them look down, like half their face would like go below the visor. You're like, what?
Where'd we get? We got a deal on giant helmets.
Yeah. We got these really big motorcycle helmets because, I mean, they're going to need it. It's protection.
The bigger they are, right?
So basically, it's giant mech robots, and you have these two major countries. It's not a company thing. They have to basically fight, and they're contracted for 10 battles. If you live through all 10 of them, it's like the Memphis Belle. You know, you're contracted for like 30 missions, right?
Yeah,
and
100%.
if you die in it, okay, cool, contract terminated.
But you get through 10,
you're
and
done.
you win.
Yeah. So what we get to see at the very beginning, after they describe everything, is the bad guy Alexander. He's in this really ugly looking mech with like a mace and some other stuff. And there's the good guys, which are he's all dressed in white and red and everything.
Yeah.
They look like what's his name? Jetfire from Transformers. Yeah. So they have the red stripe and the white everything, right? So they get in there. I guess he just beat him, right?
Okay.
And he's asking for mercy. He's
Yes.
like, please, I think my back's broke. And he's like, you
It's
will
just some
die."
random dude pilot. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what we do here in the background, that was the 9th fight that he had won.
Right.
In a row, wiped out all 9 of their fighters, right? So
But
the
he
market,
kills them. He don't just beat him. He kill him.
Yeah. So from the he gets everybody, right? So he's a badass, and they really kind of cut back, and then you get to see Tex. Of course, he's wearing a freaking cowboy hat. God knows, you know what I mean? They're wearing these really like weird suits. They're like mechanic outfits, you know?
I was gonna say it was like a flight suit, but they're
but
white.
not really.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah, weird. So, you know, Achilles is the one where he's like, he looks at him, he's like, man, if you would have put my boy in there, we would have taken him down. Like, you know what? Achilles is the best. We waited because we are hopefully not going to have to run through all these other 9 dudes.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the next fight is actually for the territory in Alaska.
Right.
So they're fighting over territories. And
we meet Tex.
Yeah.
Because you did a voice of Tex earlier.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. Yeah. You get to see Tex because he's got the cowboy hat.
Yeah.
And which he is like, I don't know, the coach?
Yeah. He's the coach.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Like the manager.
Yeah.
He's the handler.
You're right.
You know?
It's weird.
Yeah. And then have we met Doctor yet?
Yes. The only reason why we have
Sato, Dr. Sato, that's what we will call him.
Doc Matsumoto. So the only reason why we do that is because they're like, how did they know our defenses? And it's it's industrial espionage.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he says like something like everything leaks out of there like I don't know, like a wet diaper or something like that.
I don't remember.
Yeah, secrets leak out. It's like, how do they know about this and how do they know about that?
Right.
Which I guess for the last 9 fights, you know, they've seen that, right?
Right.
And it seems like the fights happen like every other day.
Yeah, they're pretty quick.
But yet Tex has been out of the running for a long time. So he's the coach. I guess he did his 10 fights because he was on his 10th fight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they kind of, they allude to that. So, okay, cool. Now, Achilles is the number 1.
Yeah.
He is the badass, right? So his introduction, we get to see him like kick some ass. You know what I mean? He's like well choreographed. I mean, the dude can do a spin kick better than Jean-Claude. You know what I mean? I would have put them together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that would have been like a badass fight. You know what I mean?
You think?
Yeah. I think, Van Damme would have whooped his ass, but you know, but
I mean, neither one of them are Jeff Speakman level. So.
no, hell no. No, they called him the perfect weapon for a reason.
Yeah, can't combat that.
Yeah, but so
he's like fighting. He's not in his outfit. He's not in his mech.
He's like
he's just
out.
working out. Yeah, fighting
and,
like 8 dudes.
Yeah, and they all go at once, and it's really good in the way that the choreography is because he does like a couple of moves where he's like knocking 2 people at the same time.
Overall, the choreography for fights in this movie are not terrible.
No.
There is one time later where you actually see the stunt person instead of the person you're supposed to see. And we'll talk about that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, this is like Magnum PI level.
Yeah,
you know
exactly,
yeah. It's not as good as the 18, but it's Magnum PI. You know what I mean? Pretty good. You'll still be like, whoa, he whooped his ass.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Then you get to find out the people that he was fighting, because one dude gets pissed and he's like, no, it's not over until somebody wins. And he's like, what? Right? And this is when he becomes a real asshole, right? Because they talk about the test tube babies, right?
Yeah.
These people were genetically modified to be the perfect soldiers. Or
the perfect mech pilots.
Mech pilots, yeah. The perfect robot jocks.
Yes, if you will.
Yes. And
which is their term for mech pilots.
Yeah. Right. And I mean...
they're Shinjis.
Yeah, yeah. So he kicks the crap out of that dude, and he's like, man, these guys are so stupid. But some of them aren't bad to look at. Dick.
Yeah.
Him and Tex being an asshole to her.
Just like, well, not even just being an asshole to her, but like to talk about the people that were genetically modified, like in front of them, like
they're shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But then he's totally sexist, you know? He's like, how about I give him a direct injection? You're like, oh my God.
That was terrible.
Yeah, it was really bad. Like, this very sexist, like, really... It was something they probably want to forget. They're like, no, please don't look that up.
Please don't look at Robot Jox.
It's so bad. So we know he's like a badass, right? So he gets into a fight. He's fighting Alexander.
Yes.
And they go into this arena, which is really cool because you get to see him suit up, put on the suit, and he's like stretching and stuff, and he gets into the suit and it's like puts him in there, and he's got his composite cables on his hands, right? He's whooping a little ass.
I think we should specify though, because I default to the word suit a lot, but these are like 50-foot tall mechs.
Yes.
Or something. I don't know how tall. 30-foot tall. Something.
No, I think they're bigger than that.
Probably.
Yeah,
they're big.
Yeah.
I just want to, it's not like Iron Man.
Yeah, no. Yeah, they're in these giant mech robots, which are pretty much the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So they're basically they show them kind of come up from the ground, just like you would see in like Gundam and all that stuff like that, right? And the stop motion was decent.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
Whenever he showed him get out of
there
the
were
deal,
parts that were better, like there were parts of the stop motion that were better than other parts.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we got enough money to make this look really nice.
And that was what I liked about this movie when I was a kid, but also what I liked about it now is because they got into the action.
Right.
Again, world building would have been better.
I do think that you get a little bit of world building. Now, not to interrupt you, we'll go back to the part you liked as a child. I mean that so that I can mentally log that. But we do get a little world building here because we do see the crowds. Yeah. Everybody's wearing a mask.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of convenient.
I know,
and
right?
I was like, oh, they were wearing all masks.
So it's
Pandemic?
2020?
No. But
pollution.
Not. Yeah, but as a child, you liked.
Oh, I liked just the actual walking of everything, and they got into the robots, and that's what made it like the kids.
Yeah.
You'd see it and be like, "Whoa, I saw Voltron one time. This is like Voltron, man." You know what I mean? They got like tank wheels on the back of them. They got these really cool feet and stuff like that, right? And everything kind of just moves in that big giant robot style.
Right.
It's not very fast, but yet they act like it's really fast.
Yeah.
And they start shooting. The Alexander dudes start shooting at him, right?
Yeah. So we find out that the rule is
you have long distance projectiles.
Yeah. You start out at a range.
Yes.
And then at some point they turn off your range if you're both still alive. And then you have to fight hand to hand.
And you can't use long distance projectiles at that point.
Right.
So
you can only use hand. Yeah.
Right. So of course you got this whole big old crowd. They fire a laser, but it doesn't kill the crowd, right? Whatever those solar shields were, I don't know what the hell that was, right?
I don't know, some sort of force shield.
And everybody's like, "Yeah, this is awesome," And so he actually gets the better of Alexander.
Yeah.
Knocks him over, right? And he's like, "Whoa, Jesus."
Until he goes to use his like secret weapon.
Right. Which he already knew. He's like, "How did they know?"
But then what happens?
Well, so he's knocked over. He's on the ropes, basically. And so is Alexander. Alexander shoots his fucking wrist rocket, right? Whatever, his hand off, right?
Yeah.
So but it's out of control. You know what I mean?
Right.
So he stands up, gets in front of it instead of like swatting it,
Right.
like whoopsh, like Spider-Man, versus the Nazis, right? And so he basically like gets in front of it.
Takes the hit because it's about to hit the crowd.
But he falls on everybody.
Yeah.
And so he was a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
He was going to kill him, or he was going to let the Russian dude kill him.
At least he tried. He tried to stop.
Yeah, and he crushes and kills 300 people.
Right.
So, of course, you got your referees, which they're all standing in some weird deal.
Like little hover disc thing.
Yeah, and they're like, so Alexander broke the rules.
Right, by using a ranged weapon during hand-to-hand combat.
During the hand-to-hand.
Which is kind of cool, because in that, really, what we get as a first full fight, we get the rules.
Yes.
If there's going to be rules, we should know that there's rules. And
Yeah,
they do explain them pretty well.
Yeah. And then, of course he gets out and everybody's like, why? No.
Dude, there was the one person that ran by.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is wrong with that person? Like,
Dude, he got burned or something.
I thought it looked like he was just like wearing like a potato sack or something. I was like,
yeah. And they show the kid.
That's why they're like, 6 million. That's all we got.
Well, well, they're in the press conference for the judgment.
Yeah, like the tribunal or whatever.
Yeah. So the referees even say, you know what? 300 people died, but they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
It was like, damn, that's cold, man. So they're like, they don't fucking matter. Okay, here's what matters. It was a draw. So we're going to fight again in a week. And Achilles is like, bullshit. I ain't fighting.
Well, to be fair, we're talking about the two superpowers of the world fighting over Alaska's territory.
Yeah, because they have timber, they have oil,
Right.
they have land.
So
basically.
to them, that probably is
That's
300 people is
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, compared
to
to the 400 that
well,
are there.
compared to the idea is that they, in the war before they lost so many people, like nuclear holocaust, right?
Yeah. So it wiped out a lot of people, and you don't. Of course, it was 50 years in the future, so I don't know where the fallout was.
I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know that before. They don't build the story that much.
No, they don't give it that much credence.
Yeah.
So basically, he's like disgraced, and he's like, I ain't fighting no more. That was my 10th fight. And they're like, you can't do that. Read your contract. He's like, I can't read, but I know it's 10 fights. What?
Yeah,
there's so many different things that they were throwing, like pepper in, like what the?
And I never learned how to read.
And that's what he said too. He's like, yeah, maybe I can't read, but you know what? I know what 10 is. I was like, I can count to 10. Something crazy like that, right? Because the commissioner's like, dude, you got to fight. And he's like, nah. So then the test
like, it's 10 wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically 10 wins or, nothing.
Right.
The draw doesn't count.
Right.
So everybody thinks he's a wuss, wussy.
He's like, I'm out.
Yeah, a wussy weak tit. But they go to the bar, right?
Yeah.
And the bar is full of all of the jocks, right? All the other jocks. And even from the Confederation.
Yeah, just the three besides him.
Yeah. It's like the
they're all
members
wearing
of
the same outfit.
Yeah, it's members of Autobahn and shit. You know? And so literally they're showing him all drink, and he's wasted, right?
Right.
And I guess they go through the alphabet because he's like, what am I on? What is this one? He's like, this is a J or something like that. I don't know. And he's like, I can't serve you if you're drunk. What? That's another thing that I was like, what the hell is this, right? This is a bar. Get drunk, man. So, of course, the chick comes up to him, and even before the fight, the main woman, test tube baby woman.
Athena?
Yeah, Athena. She asked Tex, she's like, okay. She's asking the probing questions, right?
Right.
She's like, so, on your last fight, you were completely outmatched, but yet somehow you defeated the bigger robot. And he's like, oh, little lady, that was luck. My name's Athena.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's being an asshole, But you already know something's kind of weird because even Sato is looking over and he's like,
yeah,
maybe I need to investigate this shit. Okay, cool. Because they have this industrial espionage or whatnot, right? So he's getting loaded in the bar. And then she comes up and talks shit, just like with the other dude, the other test tube baby. They talk shit to him, like, whatever, Mm-hmm. So it kind of gets into a little bit of that, and then Alexander walks in. He's like, hello. I'm here to drink. And that shot glass looked like it sucked.
Yeah.
Because if that was a heavy shot, it takes like, I don't know, 3 shots to even enter your mouth.
Right.
God, you'd be like, oh, my God, please go.
And while you can't serve somebody while they're drunk, you can apparently just hand them the whole bottle.
Yes.
Because that's what happens for Alexander.
Yeah. They're like, here you go.
He just waves his fingers.
Yeah.
And
hits his hand down on the bar like so they almost get into a fight in the bar.
Right.
But the test tube baby comes up to him, right? And he like freaking grabs his hand in a weird way, even with his hurt hand.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Ay!" The dude's like, "Oh,
there's a lot
that
of
hurts."
that, and there's a lot of that bone cracking noise.
Yeah.
At those spots.
Yeah.
Several times throughout the movie.
The sound effects were on point, but in a very overt way.
It was weird.
Yeah, if you were listening,
why are these bones breaking?
Yeah, it's
Like,
crazy.
what's he doing to him right now?
Yeah.
He's holding his hand.
Well, everybody's like,
He's cracking it.
that's what you hear at one point.
Right.
But so Alexander, he's basically retired.
Yeah.
He goes back into the locker room for the last time.
Alexander?
No,
Achilles.
Achilles. Yeah. He goes back into the locker room one more time to hang up his scarf or whatnot, right? Because all of his teammates, all the people he started with, had the same thing, right?
Yeah, he's
Which
like,
they're all
I'm
dead.
out. I'm making Alien Nation now.
Yeah, I'm deucing. So
I gotta be a detective.
yeah. So basically, he gets out, and of course, right before the match, you get to see those people call in. So obviously, it's his family.
Yeah.
And he's a great white hope. You know what I mean? He is everything. He is what everybody wants. But in this one, kind of he loses favor.
Right.
So that's when
Because everybody thinks he's just
a
scared.
coward.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, man, I 10 fights was my contract, and that was it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after he woke up naked, and Athena's just sitting there like staring at him like a psycho.
I studied you.
Yeah. Well, what makes you different? And he's like, oh, I need some orange juice.
Hangover.
No orange juice. So she's like, I undressed you and everything. Is like, let me hit my remote. He's like, boop boop, get out. You know. So then they're back at the locker room, and she's like, why did you give me this? Right? She undresses in front of him and everything. And they're like, whoa, boy. And he's like, it's a gift.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything to give you. And he's like, just say thank you or something like that.
It's
right?
it's a gift. Yeah.
It's a gift. It's for you. Just say thanks. And then she walks off, and you get to see her ass, right? So she goes in there and just stands, you know, in the shower room with the other dudes.
They all shower together. They don't care.
Yeah, it's like
Tubies don't care.
Right.
That's my next T-shirt. Tubies don't care.
Tubies don't care.
Yeah. I should get a hold of that Tubi streaming network.
Well, it's just like Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
They're all in the same deal. So he goes home, but he has a flying car too. See, I mean, but the flying car is
a remote control flying car.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? Pretty bitchin'.
Yeah.
You know, it kind of looks, I mean, it still has the same kind of look of like Total Recall whenever they're finding with the deal. It's like, cheek, 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 cheek. You know, so he lands his flying car. He sees the picture of himself saying coward, but they spell it wrong. Cowerd.
Yeah.
So obviously,
a lot of
literacy
people
is
don't
not a
read
big
here.
thing.
He didn't know what how did he know what it said?
He didn't.
He can't read.
Yeah. What we find out, and this makes more sense, because when he goes upstairs, he goes to his sister's house or something, right? She's got 6 kids, but that's the 6th one that she's pregnant with, because they get 3 bedrooms. Something like that. Yeah, they get 3 bedrooms with 6 kids. So the more kids she has, the bigger the house that they get. So
that's right.
Yeah, I don't know, it's weird, right? So Dad's in there. And
well, I'm sure they're probably promoting repopulation of the world.
Exactly, and you get to see those posters on the wall.
Oh, that's right.
It's like prenatal.
Yeah,
you know?
a lot of prenatal.
Yeah, and it's all it's really promoting. Let's repopulate.
Right.
And Dad comes out and he's wearing those like, I don't know, woodworking glasses, right? You know, and he's got a fake tool time beard. You know what I mean?
Right.
The beard is weird.
It
just makes me look weird, or it makes me feel weird, right? And so
you know what that means? That Brock was like, "What would it look like if I had that beard?"
He's like, "Oh,
no, that makes me look weird, man."
It's weird, man. And he's like, "So how's the reading going?" He's like, "Well, it's slow." Damn, but boom. You know, come on. So he's a reader.
Yeah.
You know, the rest of them aren't. Right. I don't know what he's reading, because he was playing Tetris in the background.
Yeah.
You could see the freaking Tetris in there.
Absolutely.
You're like, he's playing freaking Tetris on an Apple II. You know? So
score.
Yeah. So they get the disturbing phone call. It's like, tell him he can shove that fucking robot up his ass. And she's like, quit calling. He's like, we get a lot of those calls now. After he gives him a beer, and she's like, well, you know what? We're having meat, and it's a single hot dog and some chili.
We're having real meat.
Yes. So so obviously everything's
that's a
weird
delicacy.
Yeah.
I think you go into that, though. If that's what you had, that's what you had.
Yeah.
Like,
he even looks at it like, you know, because he's out in the real world. He's not a Jox anymore. Right. He's not a jock.
Yeah. Robot Jox living high on the hog.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They have that crash and burn thing. You know what I mean? He's like,
which is a weird mantra.
Yeah. Crash and burn, man.
Yeah. Let's crash and burn.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And the very last one, text is like, crash and burn. He's like, nah, man. That's only for jocks.
Yeah.
You know, he's a badass, right?
Yeah.
So
So
basically,
saying it was a weird mantra to say.
Right.
Why would you say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like you like turn and burn. I got, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Crash and burn is like if you, it's
It
better to
seems-
burn out than fade away.
sort of
Yeah,
doomed to fail.
yeah, you're gonna suck. Suck it up, asshole.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I
So
digress a little bit.
anyway, he wakes up because the little kid runs over to him and is like, "Hey, you wanted me to wake you up whenever they pick the next fight?"
Yeah.
Because Alexander's still there, but he was asleep while they were doing their last test for the tubies. Remember?
Right.
So they have the rattle cage, right?
Yes.
Which is just like, what in the holy living
A lot of
shit is
strobe
this?
lights.
Strobe lights, loud noises.
Pipes that aren't connected or
Yes,
something.
yes. Weird oil slicks.
But it's like the giant monkey bar your brain dreamed of when you were a little kid.
Yeah.
But then
It's like, what if I put this here and this one here?
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I took this one out and then put this one. That would be so
And
rad.
then what you did is you turned it into an American Gladiators event.
Wow.
You know?
That is legit comparison right there.
I feel
'cause
like
that,
it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because they were all wearing their silver outfits.
Yeah.
And the dude that was training them was like, listen, make it up to the top without killing yourself. I'm
Right.
like, damn. You know what I mean?
And they had to climb into the hole, right?
Yeah, they got to get up to the red door at the very top, right?
Yeah.
So for a good 5-6 minutes, you hear,
That is true. You know
That's
what
all
I
you
thought
hear.
about that though was that's got a funky beat I could really bug out to.
pretty much, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, Athena, like, she gets on one bar and it's like red hot. She's like, right? And then she goes up a couple more and she has to turn on the oil to actually
Right.
slip on it. She's like, oh, it's not working. Oh, there it goes. And Home Dude's about to win, the guy that picked the fight with Alexander, right?
Right.
And Achilles at the same time, or the same day.
Yeah.
And then
Got his hands cracked a lot.
Right. And so he gets to the very top and he's like, yeah, suck it, right? And then he makes one wrong step.
Yep.
And that freaking rung's like, boing, and he falls all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
She wins the first Robot Jox female pilot.
Right.
Which they were saying, ain't going to happen, man.
Yeah.
She's a female. They ain't going to let that happen.
I know.
If they all get into a bus crash. Like, what the?
It's 'cause
Okay.
they're terribly racist people.
Yeah. Racist and sexist.
Yeah.
Bigot bastards.
Yeah.
Well, he's from
That's
Texas.
what I meant was
Yeah.
sexist, but he's also racist because
Well,
of tubies.
Yeah, obviously he was the last Texan because they call him Tex.
Yeah.
So she wins, and the little kid wakes him up and says, "Okay, guess what?" He sees her on there because he's got a thing for her.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's the only other woman in the whole world besides his sister
True.
that you get to meet.
That's not. Yeah, that you get to meet. I was going to say because they did have a lot of women in the.
That he killed.
Well, there and then walking. Yes, but you're right. Like as far as characters,
Yeah,
she's it.
yeah,
She's the only female.
yeah.
No wonder nobody likes this movie. There's so
know.
many layers.
Yeah, there's so many layers. It's like a 30-pound onion. You know what I mean? You'll never get to the middle. Never.
And you don't want to.
So literally, she wins, and he's like, "Fuck that." He goes back, and the commissioner's like, "So, you want to come back and fight? Let's do it." But wait a minute, why'd you come back? He's like, just, is it okay? He doesn't really, what he did it for. He's
Right.
doing it to save her, right?
Right.
So he goes back to the bar, and the dude's like, you just want to start at tea this time?
Right.
Whatever. And so she comes up, and she's like pissed off at him. She's like, why'd you do that, right? And the other dude's in like a freaking arm cast, body casting. He's like, ugh. He's kind of looking for what's going on. And then, of course, Alexander comes in, and she asks him, why'd you do it? And he's like, because I needed to work out. I needed the exercise.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Machismo.
Too cool for school.
He thought he was going to grow a lot of nut hair with that one, right? But it was like
Yeah.
one hair popped out of his nose.
And that night, his nuts shrank 3 times the size.
Yes. So they get in there, and Alexander, of course, is like, I will take you down this time. It'll be a pleasure to really fight you. So, he's getting ready again. He's in his place. She shows up right afterwards, and she's like, hey, I want to give you something. And he's like, hey, I'm an asshole. I'm going to turn around for you. She's like, psst. So she injects him with like
I got the
tranquilizer
present for you.
Yeah. He's like, oh,
All right.
I'm in training, but this will work. So shoots him in the back with a tranquilizer, but yet he's really aware.
Well, he's a robot jock.
So he's pretty badass.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably got a high constitution, I would think.
Yeah, even though he's 5'6".
Yeah. And not really that big.
Kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before this, too, we get to find out who the real secret thief is. Yeah. So Sato's in there because he was like, I was going through the pre-checks, but I don't see a new weapons, breakdown. And he's like, and then Tex pops out of nowhere. He's like, yeah, me too. And he's like,
I like how somehow Tex went from like the last cowboy on earth to like 1940s.
Yeah, James Cagney.
Yeah,
see?
1930s, right?
He's like, well, he will get to see it on the television in the cockpit. You're like, okay. All right, so I get it. And then, of course, Tex is planting that seed of maybe he is the bad guy.
Yeah, maybe he's leaking all the secrets.
But he says it in a racist way, too.
Yeah. He says, no, you can't repeat that. But and again, maybe another reason why nobody watches this movie.
Yeah, that was another racist element. It was racist, sexist, and like against test tube babies. Well, I mean, come on. And then it gets a little rapey here. So there was a lot of things in this movie that don't need to be in it, right? So of course, Matsumoto's in his like closet or whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And he's recording how.
Sorry, yes.
Yeah, he's recording something. And Tex walks in and is like, I always didn't trust you. And he's like, so I was thinking about that last battle. And he shows him. He's like, bleep bleep. And he's like, how would you know to hit that specific spot? Like nobody checked that before, right? He's like, I told you it was luck. But he's sweating like he just got done at a buffet. There was nothing but meat.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He's like a meat buffet for this dude because he is like on fire sweating. Yeah, right.
Yeah. And Dr. Sato's like, I've analyzed this, and I found that was the only structural, deficiency.
Yeah, it was like a crack.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, it was luck. And then, of course, he pulls the ultimate freaking gun move, right? So Sato's like, yeah, you're the bad guy. And he's like, well, you got me. And then he pulls off his hat, and Sato's got the gun, like, right in his face. And then he does the whole cowboy hat on the gun. He's like, ha ha. Gotcha.
Well, you can't just pull a gun on a guy named Tex.
I know, right?
Come on.
I mean, if you are, be at least 5 feet away.
Yeah.
Because
that's a ranged weapon, brother.
Yeah, he's not gonna boomerang his hat like Oddjob. You know what I mean? So literally, he gets the gun away from him. He's like, yeah, and he says something like, "In the heart of every man, there is the heart of a child." Something weird like that.
You weren't
like
always
a bad man.
Yeah.
And he's like, I want to know the real you. Like he's talking him down like off a roof. And then of course Tex is like, I think you're right. Puts the gun really close to his head and is like, pow, pow,
just
blows Sato away.
Sato away. Yeah.
So then he picks up the cordless phone. And he's like, I found your spy. It was Matsumoto the whole time. So of course, you know
that dude's like, I'm on my way. That's the commissioner dude or whatever.
Yeah, he's like, don't touch anything.
Yeah.
And then, he grabs Sato's hand too when he puts the gun in there, and he cleans it with the scarf, and he's like, meet the real Tex. Yeah. And he puts the gun down. I mean, it was a perfect shot.
Yeah.
I mean, for framing for a damn suicide, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So of course, that's the night before. Then home dude's getting ready. She pops in, drugs him. Was like,
Yeah.
Then they get into a badass fight, right? And the stunt man, that's when no one pops in. You know, when he throws her on the bed, right? Throws her up and over the bed, and then this is where it gets rapey. And he's like, I did it for you. And then he tries to kiss her, and she like bites his lip.
Yeah.
You know, because it was a pretty mega fight. You know, I mean, she was like,
It was when she was doing those flip kicks.
yeah.
That's when you're like, that's a stunt man.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah,
and you can see it.
Yeah. Like really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so she eventually knocks him out, rips off his badge because you know she's gonna infiltrate, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, why is he suiting up early?
Right.
And he doesn't really say, oh, I want to get started early, you know, just like whatever.
Yeah.
So, and of course Tex is still alive, and then the commissioner's like, hey, did Achilles say he was gonna get into the cockpit earlier? And he's like, no, he didn't tell me. Well, he must not have hooked up to the box, right?
Right.
We'll get him in the cockpit. So they get up there, and this is the part that ties the beginning to this part. Because the one dude that helps Achilles into the robot the first time smacks him on the ass.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, and you can see the dude smiling too. Like he loves it. He's like, damn, this is a good one. You know what I mean? So he does it again, right? And he's like, pow. And she turns around, and he's like, wait a minute. Like, you're not Achilles. And then she like karate judo chops everybody, right? There's like 6 dudes, and she knocks down one, and 5 of them are trying to pick that one dude up.
Yeah.
She gets into the cockpit, gets going, right? So she's there.
Just reliving these moments.
Yes. So awesome, right? So she hijacks the robot, right? So all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute, this is her, and she's like, I was a better candidate than anybody. You know, I should have been in this, and she's like a real badass, right?
Right.
She wants to be. And then Tex is like, well, I can stop you. And stops the lift.
Right.
Well, then that's when she's like, fuck that. I'm a robot.
She climbs her ass out.
That was where the shitty effect is, where she puts the foot through the window, right? And the dude's like, aye. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, but it was so
it
good.
was a bad green screen.
Yeah.
Right? So she gets up, and they're like, hey, wait a minute. You have to stop the fight, because Achilles comes in. He runs in, and he's like, wait a minute. What's going on, you know? And that's when Tex is like, oh, she hijacked the robot,
Right.
you know? And so she gets out there, and the referee's like, the robot's on the field, so we don't care who's piloting it.
Right.
He's like, you got to stop it. It's not Achilles. He's like, I don't care.
Right.
They're fighting,
They don't
right?
do shit.
So then Achilles gets smart, you know? He's like, hey, we have to work on this together. Right. So we have to work with her. She's there. Right. So screw it, right? So he kind of becomes the coach. You know? Yeah, he's the mech.
He's the Tex.
Yeah, he's the Tex, right? So he's talking to her, and then the screen comes on that shows Sato telling her what the new
secret weapon is,
which is a phosphorus light that is like 10 times the power of the sun or something like that.
It was like way more than that.
Yeah, 100 times power or something, something crazy.
20,000 times more powerful than the sun.
They were blinding for 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but then, because of course he slyly, right before he got killed, turned on the recorder again.
Right.
And that's when Tex is like a literal badass at this point. He's like, well, he's like, and you kill him? He's like, well, you might as well watch. It's right there. You know what I mean? Like, fucking totally cool about it.
He doesn't like try to run.
Yeah.
Or,
he's like, whatever, you know, you got me, you know, so I'm not going nowhere. And then they're like, oh my God, it was really you.
Yeah.
And then he goes, well, I'll see you in hell. And he knocks the dudes down, and then he takes a fucking swan dive.
Yeah, he does.
He's like, Geronimo! And then you see it's just all blood down at the bottom. You're like, God dang. And they kind of run back into it. It's like, what it reminds me of is that part on Dawn of the Dead where that one dude sticks his head in when they're in the basement, you know? Yeah. He's like, oh, need any help down there? And like the one dude sticks his head in and is like, huh. And it goes like really fast out, you know? That's what one of the dudes reminded me of. So, of course, she learns the phosphorus deal. But home dude, Alexander's got some upgrades.
Yeah.
He's got 4 legs instead of 2.
Yeah.
So he goes, he flies in, and she's like, let him burn the gas, right? Whatever. Right. So he lands, and she's like, whoa. You get to see that slow crawl up and everything like that, right? Well, then
it did look pretty badass.
Yeah, right. Then they're really close together, right? And he starts kicking the crap out of her, right? Or the robot. And he's like, use the bolo saw or something like that. It's a bolo saw, right?
Yeah, yeah.
This is before the the penis saw.
Yeah.
That's kind of at the end.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I couldn't forget that.
So she rips off his arm, right?
Right.
Foreshadowing. But he pulls out the jackhammer hand. It's like
right.
Bagoom, 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 and is like literally like knocks her out. She's got brain damage now or something like that.
Yeah.
Just like Achilles got a concussion, right?
Yep.
So Achilles like, screw that. I'm getting in my car. I'm going to go out there and I'm save
he
her
takes
ass,
his
right?
hover car.
But did you notice the scale of that hover car? It was bigger than it was literally bigger than the grandstand.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, that was a bad one. Bad perspective, So he pulls up and basically, the referees come in the middle. And they're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. The match is over. You win at first, right? And then he's like, no, it's not. And then he crushes the dudes, right? Because they're on the merry-go-round ride from the fair. You know what I mean? They're strapped in. It's weird. And then somehow they he moves or something like that, and because they're away from the good robot, and he's the bad one. And they're somehow away, and then he crushes the deal. And then that's when Home Dude comes out, and he comes, up to the deal, and he grabs it, and he's like, "Hey, we need to get you out of here, right?" And Alexander's looking down, and he delivers the greatest line ever. He's like, "I'm gonna get inside this robot, and I'm gonna kick your ass." But there's no dramatic music.
There's nothing.
There is absolutely dead silence. No zoom ins, nothing like that, right? It was just like a static shot, badass line, and they're like, "Man, let's fucking half-ass this one."
Right.
There's no impact, right? And of course, Alexander takes forever to try to do something, right? So of course, he gets in there and she kisses him, and they're like, "Oh, we're in love." Cool.
Right, of course.
He gets out, he puts on the suit,
female,
right?
And he's the lead male. And
Right.
1990, yeah.
Yeah, so he puts on the suit, he gets in there, and he's like, "Yeah, let's go." So they start fighting, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, the fight's already over with. We won. You don't have to do this." He was like, "The fight's not over until somebody wins." And just accept exactly what the Tubi say.
Right.
So this is a weird part, too, because I have no idea why this happened. Remember they were fighting, right? Mm-hmm. But then he decides that he's going to blast off.
So I automatically, when he did that, I was like, does this tie back to him burning off the fuel?
Right. Maybe.
So then maybe that was his weakness he thought he might have.
He's like, I'm going to get away but come back to the same spot.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah, I'm going to land in the same
Let's just show that we can fly around.
Yeah, it's like,
let me think of a plan for a minute.
Yeah, and he's going up, and then, of course, Alexander's like, "I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you right in the way." Fires a nuke, right?
Yeah.
Blows off his Achilles heel.
Oh.
You see that one right there? It was his foot.
It was.
Right? It was the foot it was the spot that was used to dip him in the water.
That's right.
So, of course, he's coming down, and they're like, "Cockpit temperature 300 degrees." I'm like, Jesus Christ, he would have freaking fried in that thing.
Yeah.
Especially with that big ass foamy helmet. You know what I mean? He would have been sweating.
It would have just melted onto him.
He would have sweat 8 pounds into his boots. You know what I mean? With that heat, right? But, Alexander's fighting him, and of course he can't put on his landing gear or land right. So he slides in, like he's sliding into home base.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, psst.
Is this where he becomes a transformer?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of too? Okay, so he transforms, and the wheels come out, and he's like, "Whoa!"
And then he's on tracks.
Yeah, but he puts his arms on his knees. It reminds me of the rock monster from freaking Neverending Story.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, it reminds me of the fucking rock monster, man. Just
I'll buy that.
He's chilling, right?
Yeah.
He goes up there, and that's when we get to see. It's like, what was he doing? Except for just getting close.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Alexander opens his underwear, right? And you get the chainsaw penis. It's in the worst spot. I mean, come on. Have it come out of a leg or something like that.
Well, you know that if you watched this movie, you know that there was not much thought given to things like that, other than probably they were like, let's put it on his penis.
They're like, wait a minute, that's in his crotch. Where else would he hide it? Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
That's going to look cool. It's going to be a penis saw.
Yeah, buzzsaw penis.
What? So he's...
But I mean, along with the sexist, the rapey, like... There's all the things,
like everything bad.
Racist,
yeah, everything bad.
But I think that's what they thought was funny or something. You know what I mean? And I think that's why that writer was like,
"Dude, this is not a kid's movie."
They're like, he's like, it's like you had a child that started off right and then ended up with brain damage. That's exactly what the writer said about this.
Yeah. Oh, this is so weird. So
we got to get to it because I want to remake this movie. And we got to talk about it.
He cuts into it, right?
Okay. Yes.
And then, of course, Achilles gets out. And so he starts running away. Okay. And I like how he does a zigzag run, too. Like, really good, right?
Yeah.
It's like 2, 3 steps, boom, 3 steps, boom, 3 steps, boom. I mean, he's pivoting, right?
Yeah.
And so he does a lot of jumping forward.
He does.
Like, he almost steps on him, he jumps forward. Then he hides on his foot, and he's like, ha-ha. And then he sees the broken hand, right?
Yeah.
That got ripped off, and he's like, idea.
Yeah.
Well, we don't even know that idea is happening.
Right.
We just know that he wants to find cover over there.
Yeah.
Home dude's like, Achilles, where are you?
Well, I thought that's what he wanted to do when I saw it. So.
It looked like he got that idea while he was there.
Right.
He's like, hey, I could do this. So he jumps a couple of times, lands on the ground.
This is the arm that got cut off earlier.
Right. So this is the one that killed all the spectators, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, he gets behind it, and the dude's like, I'm going to find you, Achilles. You're going down, bitch. Right? So he eventually gets close to him, and he's like, And he's got those big, giant gloves on. Perfect for working on electronics, right?
Yes.
He splices every single wire together.
For a long time.
I know. And he's like, yeah. But his ass would have been burnt up. Right.
Yeah,
that was the first time that he should have technically died. Right.
Right.
Because it was firing from that. It was a perfect angle. Everything was great. Right. I don't know how that happened. Right. So then, it hits freaking Alexander right square in the chest. Boom. Blows up. He should have freaking died right there too because he was really close. You know. Okay. This is the whole magic trick.
Okay.
Freaking Alexander pulls a goddamn David Copperfield, right? The freaking thing explodes. Where did he go? He ends up behind him.
Yeah. As you would.
Burned up.
Yeah.
Like, how did that
just a little side
happen?
on the side of the face.
Yeah, like how the shit did that happen? And his arms all effed up too, right?
Yeah.
So they get into a fight, and they're waxed. They're like, they can't even stand up, and they're fighting.
Either that or they're the worst, staff fighting people in the world.
They're fighting with telephone poles and I don't know, hollow bars or something.
Yeah.
It's like a stop sign.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
And they're bad at it.
Yeah,
really bad at it
because they can't lift it, and they're just like, "Oh, it's so hot in these things. Jeez, let's quit." Oh. So he finally,
I brought some Jello.
It's so hot in here. Can I get a snack back? So he finally, Achilles beats him, has him on the ground, and he's about to take him out, right?
Right.
And then he throws the bar away, and he's like, if I can change, you can change.
Everybody can change.
So literally the dude's got a rock and he stands up and he's like, yes. And so he's about to and he's like, no. He drops it.
And then what happens, Brock? The greatest moment in any 80s/early 90s movie, the thumbs up.
Yes.
The biggest, cheesiest thumbs up you've ever seen.
Well, it's just like the gloves from Rocky IV.
Eventually it is, because then whatever his name is, Alexander's thumb comes up, and then they put down.
They hit, and it's like,
they hit.
Hearts on fire. That's immediately what I thought. Man.
I know, right?
I was like, wow, there needs to be a montage just showing all the slow scene or still shots of the whole movie at the very end of it.
That would have been
credits
awesome.
and
Strong desire.
That would have been the shit. That would have been awesome. Maybe we need to remake it.
There you go. It's done.
Just show show the black and white photos with a blue over it, black and white photo with a red, you know.
All about Robot Jox?
Yes, yeah.
I'm in. I'm
with all the
100%
credits
in, dude.
over it, and it's just like, yes,
That's a score.
it shows him looking at her all like rapey and stuff. Like, you're like, whoa, that's fucked up.
The slap on the ass.
Yeah, the dude slapping him on the ass too. It was just crazy. And the dude's like, yeah, crash and burn. The first time I saw that, I was like, did he just good gaming? He did. Holy shit. Okay, so that's the end. That was Robot Jox.
Yeah.
In a hour nutshell.
Was it an hour?
Well, no, we've been talking for 2.
Yeah.
But that was the movie took an hour. No, it actually took like 40 minutes. Anyway. Okay. So, movie, I watched it again. You know, I still like it, but
I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah. Because it is so fucking bad.
It's
It's like beyond bad.
Yeah, I don't know that it's beyond bad. It's bad. It's not so bad it's good.
No.
It's so bad that it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
You know, but I would say it was an enjoyable watch if you got past like all the sexist, racist things.
Yeah.
The rapey scenes.
Sexist, rapist, you know, everything that's wrong with any kind of bad movie.
Take all the like wrong to society parts out. And I think there's a good story here, actually.
Yeah.
And I see why that writer said that.
Yeah.
I would change the name of this. I would do a remake or reboot completely, the whole thing, right?
Right.
And I would name it Achilles' heel. Right?
Why the heel?
Because that's what gets blown off in the fight.
Achilles
you
heel.
said it.
Yeah, I know, right?
I don't know. I didn't have a name for it, but it was better than Robot Jox.
Yeah, Robot Jox. Robot Jox sounds really cool, but when you kind of like look at it, you're like, it should be Jocks.
Well, no, because it's edgy in the 80s
It's
or 90s.
an X. You know, anything with an X is badass.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
X-Men.
Especially if it's triple X.
Yes.
Oh. Anyways,
damn. I just grew like 15 more beard hairs just saying it. Like popped out.
I think with some good character development, right? And building more of that world, but like a little bit at a time, sort of, rather than like, here's a little blurb and this is the world. You know what I mean? That you could make it's got the bones of a good movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I wouldn't have like the cheesy, like fist bumping, thumbs up, like ending. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I do think, I do see why the writer said that. And I think it could be done well. And people like mech stuff.
Right.
You know, there's an audience for it.
Well, there always has been.
Yeah.
You know, all the way since, you know, the 50s.
Sure.
You know, in Japan. But this movie really, like you said, it has all the bones of a great movie. But even with the actors that they had, they could have made a badass movie.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
You develop it a little bit longer. You take a little bit more time before the very first match. Because we got Alexander killing the dude, and you just get this little bitty things. You don't get to know that they were part of a 9-person team. They're just like, oh, there were 9 people. Yeah. It's all you hear in the background. So you're like, oh, so he just beat 9 dudes, right? You give it a little bit of time to marinate that they're in the freaking future. 50 years. So when did the bombs drop? 1980? So what year was that, right?
Right.
You do hear that they were talking about the dude that died. They were like born 2000, but you never get to hear what it really is because it's so far in the background.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Like having it ambiguous, like something like that, maybe, especially time.
Yeah.
Because I think your property would hold up better.
Yes.
You know, your story would hold up better if, like, sometime in the 2000 or whatever, you know what I mean?
And they couldn't do America versus CCCP or whatnot.
No. But it was. And I would change that up a little bit, for sure.
Yeah.
I would play off the whole Tubi thing, like as far as like a social message.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you could still have, it would be maybe a little bit different of an ending. You know what I mean?
I think that if you did split it up instead of two federations, right?
Have multiple.
The countries that are left standing, they each have their own robots, and they have their own robot teams and their own, development teams, and you have the espionage, everything like that, right?
Sure. Yeah, you could really play up on that espionage.
That is a good facet,
yeah,
for it. We're really kind of creating Pacific Rim, but but with Robot Jox, I mean, because you get to see the transform part of it, which is cool. I mean, he turns into a rock monster.
Oh my god! Yeah.
So that does nothing. No. He's like, I'm rolling up there to get my face chopped off with a penis saw.
This is stupid. I'm really slow still. But I think with today's technology, you can make the robots awesome. You wouldn't have to spend a ton of money. You know what I mean?
I mean, like I said, they made that movie Atlantic Rim. Maybe that was a Robot Jox reboot.
Maybe, I don't know.
But see, not fighting kaiju. Now, Pacific Rim's got the kaiju, and the kaiju are pretty bitchin'. Right. With this, if you did, these are the battles for land supremacy.
Right.
Okay, so say there's a Siberian one or something like that. Somebody up there. There might be, there wouldn't be a British one. Say British is wiped off, but they're all in France or something like that. I don't know.
Right.
Or maybe they, whatever the survivors are in America. So you got the British in America.
Okay.
That's normal. You have an Australian branch. You have South American branch. You have these different areas,
right?
And they all go to certain places for land supremacy. They battle on that part of it.
Right.
So you actually have more than one Robot Jox.
Right.
You actually have 3 or 4, right?
Right.
And different teams like Pacific Rim. But they're not all together. They're actually fighting each other.
Okay.
Which would be cool. But that world building has to be there. You need to know. I mean, even freaking Escape from LA had a world building part of it,
100%.
And you felt like you were really there. Part 2 of remaking this is have somebody do a badass soundtrack.
No, 100%.
And I'm talking maybe orchestral, but mixing with some other stuff and kind of making it not gleep glorp industrial, but just intense whenever they're fighting,
right?
Something ominous and eerie. So it wouldn't be so uplifting, and of course no crash and burn and shit, Yeah. But you get into the 2B part of it. You get to see them expand.
I think there's layers of this. There's layers of a good story, and I'm sure that I would like to read the original screenplay. I'll have to look and see if that's an option.
Well, there was a
novel.
novel. There's a novel adaptation that came out the year before.
Okay.
Which was supposed to be released at the same time. So that more than likely is probably way better.
Yeah.
Because they get into it, and I would like to see why there was a nuclear war. Why they decided we're going to make big giant robots and fight each other.
Yeah, I think that you could leave even if you didn't totally explain that in this movie. You know what I mean? If you left some sort of hints to it and let the viewer draw their own conclusion,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
on what happened, or leave it just a little bit where. Also, the other side of that is there could be a sequel or a prequel. If it was received well enough. Well,
they have all the prenatal photos up, right?
Right.
They never explained that shit.
Yeah, that was another thing I was going to say earlier, and I tried to save it, but I forgot about it by the time we were talking about that. That's a perfect thing about them getting their houses bigger for having more children.
How they're building, now with irradiated air.
Right.
Because they really just have respirator, not even respirator masks. They don't even have the N2 masks.
No.
It's kind of
they're like the white painter's mask.
Yeah, whenever you're painting, you put one of those things on, right? Yeah, exactly. So it's a world that they live with gas masks, which that's where we're at right now.
Right.
Which is kind of crazy.
I really could see there being a good movie here is what I'm saying, though.
You could really kind of bring it into the time period that they need to be in, but you could also put it out further. I wouldn't pivot into something where it's these companies are after things, but that could be part of it.
I would love to play on the oligarchy of it, where it's corporations rather than countries
running the countries, but yet the countries are the corporations.
It's just really at this point they're past all that bullshit. It's just this is
you work for the
Sony,
company.
and this is Microsoft.
Yeah.
and we're about to fucking get it on
Yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason.
Then
you know?
Mitsubishi's over there like pissed off. You know what I mean?
GE.
That would be freaking really awesome. You know, almost kind of
that
like
would
that.
be kind of cool, cyberpunkish a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
And they could also even do fights on the moon or some shit like that.
Yeah. So those are all places you can branch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would okay.
Maybe they're mining for shit on different planets and they fight for planet rights.
I actually am going to check and see how much those Atlantic Rim movies were cost to be made, just so I can know, so we can make a television show.
Ooh.
See where I'm going with this?
Atlantic Rim, Robot
Yes.
Jox.
Because if a television show was that good, you'd be like, it's a television show.
You know, it. Like I said, it was a step above Magnum PI.
Perfect.
In everything, you know. They had their own Tom Selleck, but he was kind of like the Equate version of Tom Selleck. It was put together, and it probably died in the editing room.
Oh,
I bet you they have a lot of extra footage, or they burned it because they're like, man, this is not going to get better than this. Let's cut it down to 85 minutes. Yeah. Man, we got a 3-hour movie, and everybody's going to love it. It's going to be like Star Wars. It's so great. It made me cry. No, make it 85 minutes. That's it. Take out everything that's good.
What do you mean? Everything is good.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Everything that's in here right now is awesome.
This is the best.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to throw this out. It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Atlantic Rim was made for $500,000.
What?
And the other side of that is that it was also, where did I lose it? 85 minutes long. That technically could be 3 episodes of a television show.
Jesus.
But let's say 2 and make it fun, because I think that's cool, like 40 minutes, 45 minutes in there. You know what I mean?
Man, did they use stop motion?
You know how cheap that is?
That's fucking cheap,
We
man.
can do this whole story.
You could
We
do it
we could
all,
branch it all the way. We could have this up. This we're gonna have to cut this out.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just have to shut up about this.
I mean, Atlantic Rim makes Robot Jox look like a $250 movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It
So
really
then I'm
does.
sorry to digress from the movie we're talking about, but I think that would be an interesting way to do it right.
Yeah.
Even if you just got to make a TV movie for like sci-fi,
Oh my God, it would be really good.
because those would be the people that would want to see it anyways.
Robot Jox, the TV show. Man, that would be bitching.
Now, if you want to like throw like 50 million at it,
Oh my God.
25 to 50,
Then you would have.
then you make Achilles' heel.
Yeah. Yeah. Then you actually
we're gonna do some groundbreaking shit.
Yeah. You're gonna change the game.
Yeah, game changers. Anyway, so yeah, get at us.
Put Andy Circus in a motion capture suit so he can be a mech.
He can be anything he wants to be.
Ugh.
Apparently.
So, final thoughts.
I wasn't mad. I watched it. It goes fast.
Mm-hmm.
It's a quickly paced movie.
Like Arena.
So I hear. I'm probably not going to watch it again anytime soon.
I might. I watched it 2 times this week. And then the second time is whenever the creepiness set in. I was like, God damn, that guy's an asshole. Ugh.
I'm glad that my wife didn't watch this one with me. She'd been like, what are we watching?
Yeah. That would have been the first thing my wife says. Turn this shit off.
Sorry. Hey, but we watched it for you, so
Yes.
you don't have to.
So you don't have to.
Here's probably the best way to watch it. Turn the volume all the way down.
Yeah. We clean the bowl, so you don't have to. Because that's what we did with this one.
I'm not saying that because there's probably people that really like this movie, and
Yeah.
I didn't dislike watching this movie. I enjoyed it. There was definitely some noticeable stuff that did not age well.
No.
And shouldn't have been in that age. You know what I mean? So there's that.
That was
But,
that was an issue.
Overall, I am not sad that I watched it.
Nah.
A little bit of history there in the robot movies.
Yeah, there's one of the beginnings. I think
It's no real steel.
Yeah. It was like
Joking,
five.
actually.
Maybe I can count and say 5 parts of it with the robots look really good.
Yeah.
But that was it.
It was definitely inconsistent.
And there was like 500 parts with the robots in it. You know, I mean, it was like good ideas on the costumes. The music just freaking sucked balls, man.
Yeah.
There's really no music. And I feel sorry that it fell that flat, you know, because I did not think that.
I think some of that, yeah. I agree.
The sound
music
effects guy.
Yeah, bad. They were bad all the way.
I swear to God, the sound effects guy probably uses that as his his reel, you know, that he sends to people. It's like, you know what? I did the sound effects on Robot Jox. They're like, whoa, those were really good. Pretty bad. Yeah, I mean, too loud. Should have turned it down.
Yeah. It was a little just different. Wasn't right.
Yeah, I think you could also.
But I think you're right with the music as far as tone.
Well, that plays into so many movies. As long if you have the right music, it doesn't matter what you're watching. Sometimes it just you realize it's bad, but you're like, dang, this give me a feeling,
Right.
you know,
Right.
make my heart race. I don't know.
There's plenty of those movies.
Yeah,
You know.
I'm looking at all the pictures of Robot Jox, so I'm gonna have to screenshot some stuff. Robot Jox, and that was 1990s Robot Jox.
Robot Jox.
Coming soon, Arena.
No.
It's on YouTube for free.
It's not true. I'll never join you.
Oh, do you remember that movie? Oh,
I do. I remember the cover of that movie.
Yeah, it was bitching, right?
Yeah.
And then you see the dude with like the 6 arms, but you can obviously see that they're rubber and everything is like, oh man, you need to move. We're gonna get you started in this. Fucking loved it. It was so bad. I don't even think I finished it. Every time I watched it. I know I've seen it. Dude, Frodo Baggins actually, no, Bilbo Baggins actually was part of the motion capture people of this movie. Yes. What? Okay, let's end it. Okay, thanks to everybody. Thank you very much for listening. This has been our Robot Jox.
Robot Jox.
If you have anything to add or you would like to call us idiots or something like that, you can at dropculturepodcast@gmail.com. Go to dropculture.com. Hit up every one of the socials. We're talking, when I say every one of the socials, 3 of them. We're not on.
You can decide which 3 those are.
We're not on Instant Messenger anymore, and we're not on farmersonly.com. So, with that said, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, we're everywhere that good podcasts are sold. And please subscribe. Leave a like, something.
Yeah.
You know.
Drop
Flip
us a
off.
review if you'd like.
That would be bitching.
Yeah.
You know?
You
And
give us
use
3
bitching in the
stars if
title.
you want.
Yeah. If you literally use bitching in your review and you send us a screenshot, I will send you a sticker.
Boom.
Done. Just gotta use bitching.
Yeah, fair enough.
No disqualifications for spelling it wrong either.
Also fair.
Rad. All right, guys. We'll talk later.
Peace. I mean, we're talking different strokes. She got different strokes credits.